As editor-in-chief of Package Design magazine, I speak with some of the most brilliant thought leaders in the design, branding, and marketing of consumer packaged goods. Through the generous support of our sponsors, we bring these experiences to you. This video series explores what inspires these thought leaders and their insights on the collaborative design process as a strategic business competence. I'm Linda Casey, and this is Package Design Matters. In this episode of Package Design Matters, we are at the Cosmopack Show in New York City, speaking with 5-time Emmy Award winner, author, and beauty entrepreneur Eve Pearl about developing a successful beauty brand, business, and team, the role of innovation in product and package design, agile marketing and development strategies, and why she's choosing to shift an increasing portion of her sales strategy to alternative retail channels such as QVC. And your packaging is really prime for social media because it's very recognizable with your name very, large and in charge on your boxes.
We try to keep everything simple, even with our packaging, simple but beautiful. It's timeless beauty, timeless elegance. I'll even show you here what we have, for instance. This is what our new revelation. Not only it's, again, simple on top, but when you use it, if you look at this is our 40/60. This is our HD Dual Foundation 40/60. It might look a little overwhelming, like what is that all about? Mm-hmm. You might see several products that now have, we originally had this in a 50/50, like straight down the middle foundation. And there's two, there's two colors here for foundation. Most of us have been taught that we are a blank canvas, we want everything to be one color. But if you look at our faces, right, there's so many different issues that we have. We've got redness, discoloration, dark under eye circles. Who knows what we have? But having the two colors, you're able to match the color that's perfect for your face, but also do all the highlighting necessary. And then you have the balance of those days that you're maybe a little darker because you're in the sun, or you're a little lighter because you haven't. So having the two shades actually will allow you to have great coverage, have contouring, have definition, and it's actually good for your skin. That's why we made this 40/60. And the compact is unique because we're able to put a sponge that's a non-latex, make sure that in here there's little holes so the air's out, because when you wet the sponge or when you use creams, you want to make sure it's also getting aired out. So every little part of the component is thought out, and you want to make sure it's also functional, easy to use. It's not going to open in your bag. It's like those simple things that kind of make a brand, and we evolve,
Definitely. I can see all the function that's in that package. Definitely being able to have the 40/60. As a woman, it's always frustrating when you have a pan of makeup that's got dual formulations and one runs out and the other doesn't. You kind of feel like, should I buy some more? Or should I try to get the little bit out of the crevice? And it's definitely something that will make the customer feel happier about the product at the time of repurchase.
Absolutely. And what you just said right there about sometimes you finish one side more than the other, that was an issue when we first had a 50/50. And the other way I feel to grow a brand is to truly listen to her, listen to the customer. Your customer is like you, and sometimes she will give you a great idea. And some people might take things as as a complaint, but for me, we're all in this together to hopefully have a better result. So I feel that our customers, they're our best focus group.
The consumer world was once static. We then came to understand the role of a brand. In turn, the world has changed. With the foundation of observations, insights, strategy, collaboration, and extraordinary ideas, design serves as the conduit for a brand. Without design, what purposes do these efforts serve?
We are not interested in a one-time purchase. We're interested in building a relationship and building an emotional connection together, and to know that every single product that we create, it's not just a trend, it's not just a fad, it's here for the long term. That goes for our components, that goes for our products and our ingredients. Like for instance, our ingredients in here, the only oil is a coconut oil. It's a good oil that I can use. It's got vitamin E. So we're making everything as a skincare that's also going to give you immediate results. It's going to give you lasting benefits. And I want you to know, I want her to know that. It's for all of us.
And that kind of taps into a larger trend we're seeing in product manufacturing and product design of building in functional benefits, nutritional benefits, whether it's vitamins into products such as cosmetics, clothing. It really taps into a trend that consumers seem to be hungry for.
Oh, absolutely. Think about what you want, what your needs are. As you just said, you're sometimes using one side of a product more than the other. You don't get a chance to use every single thing in a compact that you bought. Wouldn't it be nice if you can truly get the value from every single last bit of everything that you bought, and that it was functional for you, right?
At the start of a project where it's a blank piece of paper and the problem seems a pretty challenging one, how do we get inspired is, I think, a really useful question to get something from an idea or a concept all the way into manufacture. It is a team process. It's a very collaborative process. It's really about the collective, and that is the powerful piece. One person with one idea plus one person with another idea is potentially 3 and beyond really good ideas. We're delighted to have our name attached to such an incredible list of contributors.
Then you have to have someone great on your team to help make it work, to make sure the snap is going to work properly, to make sure how the fill is going to look when it's done, that it's nice and even. Because then you also want it to be visually stimulating. You want to make sure that when you're holding it, see, the top has a beautiful little shine, it's metallized, but the bottom is sort of matte. So when you're holding it, it feels nicer in your hand. It's these little things that we might not think about, but everything is important. Like when we design a brush, for instance, this is the dual-ended. You want it to be functional and also save you time. Why did we make a 2-sided brush, for instance? You need to have the thinner side of a foundation so you can use less product and have placement. Then you want to have these little thousands of silken fibers so that you can blend it in and it works like thousands of little fingers, applying the makeup with, if it's angled, so that you can get into the areas under your eyes, you can get into everywhere you want to. So this will cut down your application in half.
We live in a fast-changing digital world. Dynamic communication and social expression influence just about everything we do. Business is digital. Impact is instant. Brands and customers interact in amazing new ways. From postage stamps to packaging and billboards, HP's Graphic Solutions business is leading these transformations, creating innovative digital print technologies that enable more effective, engaging communication between brands and end users.
Yeah, and then that is, again, is an example of how your experience as a makeup artist probably informed the product design.
Oh, absolutely. Because as a makeup artist, I've always worked on, with people who are live and who don't have that much time to sit around. Like, I have to do a full makeup on a celebrity, usually in less than a half an hour. So, if you think you don't have more than 10 minutes a day to invest in yourself, because truly when you give 10 minutes a day, it's an investment in yourself for many reasons. One, it gives you a clean, polished look. If you're going out on the town, if you're in business, in work, even if you're just going outside, you never know who you're going to see. If you're taking a single selfie that you're going to post, you want to look your best, right? So you want the function and you want everything to actually tie in together. And 10 minutes, I want to make sure that my brushes, in one, I don't have to pick up and put down things that I no longer, I don't need. It's less products to carry in my little makeup bag when I travel, so I could just travel with a handful of products. They're functional, they're gonna work. Also, when we make the product fill, It's all about, for instance, the pigment. So everything is double pigmented. You don't have to think so much because often, like I've done makeup on planes, trains, and automobiles with no lights in bathrooms, so you have to know that the product is going to work for you. You don't always have the benefit of lighting, of space, of travel, of going through airports. So I make everything that is convenient, and I load up the ingredients and the pigments and the colors to do all the work for me.
Do you believe a stronger idea can lift an entire business? Or that a single insight can spark new ways to succeed? At Bemis, we believe there's always a better way to boost consumer demand, stand out on the shelf, or create a deeper brand experience. Today, we strive to see the world as you see it. And when that happens, there's no limit to where you can take your packaging or your business.
And I could totally relate to that in just doing our series. Sometimes we have beautiful theater to work with. Sometimes our spaces are a little surprising. So I can definitely relate to being able to work in those different spaces and be able to apply and be able to pull on the expertise. But how do you test your package design after you've got this compact? You say it doesn't open in someone's purse. I've heard that before. Put the compact in my purse, taken it to the airport, and had makeup all over the bottom of my bag.
That's right. That happens on things with powders that might you drop it once, it's cracks, it's all over the place. I have to tell you, the way we do it, every single thing gets tested by, we have a team, a great team that they all have to use every single product for some time, including myself. So if you look at my bag, everything in there has little labels in the back because I am testing it all out. And sometimes you might have a lipstick component, let's say. It's a beautiful lipstick component, but the way you hold it, it's not comfortable in your fingers. It might look beautiful, but then, it has to be functional so it feels nice when you're applying your lipstick for you to hold it just right. These are simple things that we might not think about when we look at something pretty, but it's for function. It has to also work. And when you use it, open and close it, and throw it in your bag. I'm as rough with my products as you are, as somebody else might be. So we take it, we take it to the beach. We let a kid do it, let a guy use it. Really, we let a guy because we're not predisposed as women to know what to do with makeup, right? To us, it's like a little thing. So we have to make sure that it's functional, it's durable, it's not going to bust when you squeeze it, and when you open and close it, it's easy, it's not going to break your fingernails. You have to test it, and basically who's better to test it than me, than you, than the teams that you have, because they'll be really, truly honest with you. I'll give it to my family members and say, here, can you just, I don't tell them what it's about, just here, take it and give me your feedback. And I want people to be brutally honest.
Can you share an example of a package that became better after testing?
And that we were able to find ways to fine tune it.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, right here, our foundation, the 4060. We at first it was made. It didn't have enough holes, right? There weren't any holes, because quite often you might see there's no holes in the back because maybe someone might like, why would you need holes? Because you want it not to. I want to have holes because things need to breathe. So for us, a sponge, right? Initially, the sponge used to be small, like a thinner sponge. But when you make the sponge wet, it will expand. So see right now, there's room in here. But once you make this wet, this will expand and become thick. So you have to make sure that when it's thick, the top will still close. And you can carry it with you. There's holes, so it breathes. So the second one made sure that we had holes, that the sponge was thick enough size, and that even this was developed so the 4060, you could fill it to the top, because often you can't even fill a product to the very top, or they're made to have little aluminum pans that fit in here. So even those little things. So now we put as much product as possible in here. So it's little things like that, even things like fingerprints or the coating. When I initially was making the components, maybe not everything has a UV coating because you don't even know about that when I first started out. I'm a makeup artist, what do I know? And it would come off and you realize, oh, well, if you put a UV coating and you raise it or you're it's not going to. Yes. But that comes with time, and hopefully you have a better team. I mean, I'm fortunate enough to have a better team now to help me help the brand create things that are where they're supposed to be. But there's always evolution. You can't ever think like, okay, now I'm done I'm done. Anyone who thinks that, okay, now I'm done, I've designed and created the best packaging, product, component, if you ever feel that way, it's not going to last very long.
And what you bring up about the team is so important. I mean, here you are with the new brand, you have a startup and you're trying to find a team. And then now, of course, you have an evolved team. And that team is so important to making sure that brand succeeds, evolves, grows. Can you share any tips for growing your team? And can you also share the experience of how you grew your team as a startup versus how you grow your team and evolve your team now?
Growing your team, developing a team, and growing your team is always a challenge, like anything else. I'm an athlete from the past. I'm a basketball player, so I was like a half athlete and half geek in school. And the value of a team is important because everybody has a role, and everyone should be different. When you look for a team, you don't want people that are exactly like-minded. It would be nice to have everyone, kumbaya, but that's not going to help you grow. My strongest team members, I don't necessarily always see eye to eye with. We're always combating each other, and we're always pushing each other to be better. And at the end of the day, we come up with amazing products. Usually when you have those different mindsets, you come up with the best final product and the best final results, but at least have the same final vision of where you want things to be, and how you might have different ways of getting there, but eventually if you communicate, we always realize that we always come up with a better product, a better idea. Even brainstorming, you'd be surprised by the people who are thinking differently from you, the input that you have. And I remember working with a great mentor of mine, and he said, if you stop someone on the first bad idea they have, and you say, that's a terrible idea, you're likely never to get any more ideas. But if you let them give you ideas and say, okay, at least listen, even if they give you 10 ideas, that out of those 10 ideas, maybe 6 or 7 are useless to you, those 3 ideas might be amazing for you. And we're on QVC right now. We do a lot of things with QVC, and that's been our biggest, explosion and path to the DR with a direct response, with basically having me show you what to do. And Joseph Siegel, who created QVC, everyone knew all of his successes, but no one remembers all the failures that they had to go through to get to those successes.
Collaboration does not have to be directionless. Pushing back doesn't mean pushing against. And I like that whole idea of making sure you have leadership as well as collaboration together.
It's true. Pushing back just means someone is, I want to see how passionate you are about your point of view. So tell me why you feel that way. And that's what, that really starts the conversation going. It's like, let me see if you really mean what you're saying. Prove to me to believe what how passionate you are, and basically win me over to your side, or at least to your point of view. And that right there creates that bond and that strength and the building.
How do you help young women within your company become more comfortable with being confident about their ideas?
Linda, wow, you just touched on something that's such a huge topic. Yes, especially in our industry, and really in most industries, that women, we are not taught to, I don't want to say fight against the challenges or being challenged. It's not even a fight. This is, I think, where sports kind of are important for girls when they're growing up, because we're taught to fall and get up. We're taught to be polite. And that is the challenge for women, that we don't know what's the difference from being polite to being aggressive to, we still face this in everyday life, in government. And
true.
Yeah, because, they'll say that a man, he's tough and he's this, and a woman, what is she usually? The bitch. So listen, let me tell you, there's absolutely plenty of room for bitchy women out there, and we might have met a couple, but not every strong woman needs to be. And I've been fortunate enough to work with women who have been successful, and some might have been not the greatest, but I also have worked with many women who are so successful, and they've managed to do it by being kind and by being smart, sometimes working extra hard, usually working extra hard. But the one thing they had always inside is underlying competitive nature. If you have a competitive nature, you can succeed. You do not have to do it by putting other women down. You do not have to do it by tripping people. You can do it by doing good, and you can do it by doing the right thing. And it's never wrong to do a good thing.
Yes, definitely never wrong to do a good thing. But it's also wonderful to hear kind of your philosophy and how you're trying to encourage other women to, within your company, to pursue everything that they, all the different ideas and projects that they might want to pursue. You mentioned something about feeling a little limited early on in your career. Would it be too much to share a little more?
Well, I'm an immigrant to this country. My son is first generation American, let's say, and we came here. Like, I don't have a college. I didn't graduate from college. That already sometimes you feel stigmatized for, like, oh, I've got to be, kind of this. So I became a makeup artist after I already was a mom. I was married and then I was divorced. I was a single parent most of my son's life. I'm still a single parent, and to try to raise a kid and work and do something. And I was able to get a job as a makeup artist through my mother helped me get my job because I had to figure out how I could work and take my son and have him kind of around. And to build this, but you're always feeling like you're missing out. Like, I'm not being a good parent. I don't have a profession. I'm just a makeup artist. I'm just in the cosmetic industry. That's something that you do when you don't have the education to do anything else. So I worked really hard to then try to not be embarrassed of being a makeup artist. So I wrote a book called Plastic Surgery Without the Surgery. When I wrote the book, then I said, well, I could be an author and not have to say that I'm a makeup artist. So I wrote the book, and I also worked on The View for 10 years as department head, and I was doing so many things. I was on air, I was on TV, but I never really felt that I could do other things because I had to work to support my my son and myself. Yes. And I couldn't do the things that I wanted to do. I worked 3 jobs. Even when I started my own company, I was working a full-time job at The View and Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and I opened a store in New York City. So I was constantly working 20-hour days. But I was also around women like Meredith Vieira, Barbara Walters, Joey Behar, people who also work 2 or 3 jobs. Do you know that every one of these women, Ariana Huffington, none of them work 1 job. They all work several jobs. That was an interesting work ethic that I learned from these women, that you can do it, but you should never feel, okay, this 1 job is going to be okay, because I've seen many people who have 1 job sometimes, and they're always like, that could go away at any time.
Yes, so you're always a little bit nervous, maybe a little risk at first?
Yeah, so they're calculated risks. I take calculated risks, but if I'm going to invest in myself, I'm willing to take that chance. So if you ever have that thing in your gut that says, I can do this, I'm scared, just do it. There's no guarantees, but if you don't try, it's guaranteed. You have a 100% guarantee nothing's going to happen. But if you try, even at 10% and 20%, you're more likely to at least give it a try. You might have to do it when you're doing something else sometimes, but we're always going to feel limited from one reason or another. Whether it's financial, whether it's education, whether it's knowledge, there's always a reason, there's always an excuse, and I've always felt limited, not good enough to do things. So I guess that makes me try harder to prove first to myself that yes, I can do it. And often people will tell you that you can't do this, and I've been told this my whole life. Oh, you're too fat, you're too tall, you're too this, you're not pretty enough, you're not. Okay, so if I can do it, I can do it.
Looking at your career now, that's not the background of the history or what I would expect. I would have, I would kind of expect always being at the top, feeling like being told that you're the best and all that, and not to have this kind of background and be able to have this vulnerability, but yet take that vulnerability and transform it into a strength.
Most athletes, really great athletes, never come from like, oh, you're great, you're amazing. Most of great athletes come from a place of like, there's some need to prove to somebody because we don't feel like we're good enough. How do you build a brand? You don't, it's like, how was Rome built, right? One day at a time you do it. So, the same way, how do you get to Carnegie Hall? practice, practice. How do you build a brand? In my opinion, you start with one thing that's great, because you can't be great at everything. From there, you can build one more, and one more, and one more. It's like you can't become famous, or it takes many years to become an overnight success.
Definitely.
Many small steps.
But when you have one great product that you start from and you begin to extend your brand out, how do you extend that brand without losing that brand identity, that core identity?
Extending, having line extensions to your brand, to your products, is challenge, because everybody wants new. So you want to get new, and like, what's the trend and what's and like most companies, we kind of, you want to sort of go through that. It's really challenging to stay focused. Like on anything else, I feel we truly stay focused on our core items, and we, in my opinion, I like following your favorite smartphone methodology. I'm not sure if you have an iPhone, if you have a Samsung, what you have, but whatever level you have, I know that when the new one comes up, you might want to have the newer version and the newer version. Mm-hmm. So if you maintain your core products solid and adjust your core products, you can have nice complementary products that go around that, but you have to never lose your core. Mm-hmm. Because let's say your main core were, like our main core is our cream foundation, our HD Dual Foundation, and our concealers. It's the same formulation. It's your base face. We're known for the base face. If you want to have, like, when you said to me, my skin looks really nice when I have really serious acne, scars, and redness. So that's all I can see in the morning is my serious redness and acne scars. My goal was to have the base face. Your go-to, HD Dual Foundation and your salmon concealer. So that's us. So when you want to have your skin looking good and feeling good, and with ingredients that are good for you, it's all about the Eve Pearl brand. So foundation, the concealer, that's us. Now we have, of course, our line extensions. We've got eyeshadows, and we do everything that the single thing has everything in it. Like our eyeshadow has 6 colors that will do everything that you need for your eyes. So you just open up one component, that's it. The blush. We have just one blush that will go for, like, you and I, we can use the same, but it's got 3 colors. It has a little peach, it has a little pink, has a little bronzer. Done. So you don't have to, like, what am I wearing? What's my undertone? Like, who cares? The one blush will work for you. And every time we make a product, we have to make sure that the tools that go with the product are there to make your life easier. So everything, like, we don't have, 50 brushes. We have like 10, 15 for pros. Everything that I try to do is really what I would need and what I want. I don't want you to have things that you don't need. We create things that we need, and things that you're only gonna need. If I don't need it, you're not gonna need it. I can sell 50 different color lipsticks, lip colors. Why? Why do you need 50 different lip? I'd rather give you one that's gonna work for you, or a handful, and then you finish them and you just keep buying more, right? Wouldn't that be an easier thing? And it's not like you're not gonna buy from me, you're not gonna sell. And if you want new, I will always keep my core and continue to have some that are new. How often did you use your favorite color and then it was like discontinued? So we try to keep that core of the base face is always gonna be there, and everything else, we can adjust, we can change, but never gonna change like what we're known for. That's, I think, what helps not only build the brand, but also sustain the brand.
But how do you get QVC excited about your brand?
So the power of QVC is pretty remarkable. QVC does $6 billion in sales in the US market alone, and $9 billion globally. But the US is the big monster, $6 billion a year. Yeah. It's 2.4 billion of that is on the web sales, internet. And so that's daily sales. $16 million a day is sold on QVC. And that's direct response, right? And we now have had nice success on QVC. For us, it's terrific because I get to share with you my story, and I share with you how to use the product correctly. The challenges of having to explain to a lot of salespeople or training teams. Sometimes things can get lost in translation, but if I'm talking directly to you and I can pick up my HD Dual Foundation and I can explain to you how to use it with the dual-ended brush and how to use side 1, side 2, smile, 2 steps, simple, and then offer you a little insert, and then there's a video you can go back to and see, to me that's an easier way to get the message across.
Definitely, it's kind of like when you think about children and they play the game of the telephone, and the message changes as they go through that process of sharing that message to one person to the next. Being able to bring that consultative selling approach directly to the consumer, I could see how that'd be powerful.
It's incredibly powerful, and for us, it's the same. Buyers need to have new, because the customer. Think about us. What is, how long is our attention span, right? We always want something new. We go around, what's new, what's new, what's new? It's an automatic thing to say. When you're looking for components and packaging, well, what's new, what's new? It's great to have new, but if you're just basing your core on new, you can't succeed, because then you don't have anything, there's no loyalty, there's no reason for me to have to come back to you, because people are just gonna look for new. My core customer is like me. I want something good. Please help me take care of my skin and my face. If you really prove to me you can do this, I will be loyal to you. So my goal always is to help. If I can help you understand how to use a product and provide you with something amazing, show you how to use it, make your life easy, wouldn't you just want that?
Oh yeah.
And
definitely.
if you have a great product, which before it was a 50-50, but you had one issue of hey, you always use this side more. And now we just launched this with the 40-60 because I listened to you. Now, wow, it's great. So I'm maintaining my core product. I just made it a little bit better, right? So, I love my iPhone 5, but I have the 6. When the 7 comes out, when the 8 comes out, I'm gonna get that too, because I like the core.
Packaging can really elevate that core offering for a brand promise.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, look how innovative packaging is and can be. The core stays, so the ingredient, and even the ingredients, actually there's always new ingredients that you could add, some like a new additive or a new peptide, a new antioxidant. That's another way that you can take your core and just make it better, so that you don't have to shy away or move away or stray from your core, what you're known for. So we will always make either the ingredients that we find at the shows better, or the packaging. There's such amazing innovative packaging. It's hey, look at this new finish. Hey, look at this new component that looks similar, that can still be part of the family, but we can just make a little bit of a change to it so it still goes with everything else. That's another way you keep it new, you keep it fresh, but you keep that core. Because we work so hard to be known for something. We can't just so easily throw it away. And you also want to be known for your packaging, yeah? Because when you look at a certain packaging, you say, oh, this is so-and-so brand. Like so-and-so brand is known for a particular shiny. So-and-so brand is known for a particular round feel. So-and-so for a nice matte, for a nice soft touch. When you're looking at our components, they have to fit into a family of your branding. So that's another thing. You have to think about line extensions so that you're not stuck because nobody else makes anything like that.
Definitely, and line extensions and core branding and positioning and appearance and all of it is so very important for a line like yours, because you're a premium line.
Yes, we are a premium line. It's a luxury brand, but there's Cosmonutrients, which is cosmetics with nutrients, and we're really known we're skincare that's going to provide you with immediate results and lasting benefits. And on QVC, for instance, if you're going to compare us to a cosmetic brand, we're the most expensive cosmetic brand on QVC. However, if you compare us with the skincare brands, then we fit right in. So we truly are a skincare brand, but we're also giving you color.
A lot of people who are not in the design industry or not working with design or designing products or packaging, they think that design is about creating beautiful things. And it's more about problem solving. It's creating something that solves a problem that has a function.
I would love to be able to use retinol, but retinol alone will burn my skin. So I have to find a combination. So we'll do a formulation that has retinol with a coconut oil, vitamin E, and aloe. But now, you can't put all those things in certain packaging because if a light hits it, it's going to lose its, you know, effectiveness. So you have to make sure that the packaging that's in will not only hold it, but it will protect it and sustain it. So the packaging design truly also has to go for the combination of the ingredients and what you're putting in there. Like, we had a different packaging that, you know, if you put this cream out, you know, in the sun, it's going to melt, which happens. I mean, it's a cream. You put cream in the sun, it's going to melt. And we experienced that the first time we were shipping, you know, years ago with FedEx, and they used to, you know, with whatever carrier, they would leave it, and they would leave it outside with all the new shipping ways. And in Texas, at 104 weather, the products were melting. So, oh my God, big drama. But we corrected. Obviously, we made sure that everyone got their products correctly. But then we took that problem, and not only did we create a solution with the shipping method of that one, but we created another product. We're like, hey, why don't we create a liquid? So because of the melting of that issue, and we're like, and which happened, you know, which can happen by a certain formulation, because some parabens, because we don't use those parabens, you know, natural ingredients, natural, like, binding products, they change because they're natural, right?
Yes.
They're not going to be the same every batch. This particular batch didn't hold the heat, yeah? So we ended up using this particular natural ingredient to make a liquid. So sometimes you can take the things that are like the most traumatic and what you think is a problem and create not only a solution for that and for the face, but also take that and make a new product out of it. We ended up doing a whole line extension of liquids from that melting situation. So you see, you never know on how you look at things. We've got to take our lemons and make that lemonade.
And with the line extensions, we talked earlier about the line extensions, like how do you do the line extensions and not lose your core identity? This is a perfect example of being able to apply design thinking for a line extension or a new product versus just going out creating a new product to satisfy a retail buyer's demand that you come up with something new to drive traffic.
Oh, absolutely. Like, for instance, when you're looking to create, even your core, as you build your core, so let's say this is our core product, right? It's like this is our core big component. You want to make sure you're also looking with your manufacturers to see what else, is there a family of that particular component? Is there a family of sizes? Can you take your foundation and make a blush or a cream? Is there a family that when you have your extension, even if you're not doing it all today, eventually down the line, will there be several other products that you already have components for? These are all things you want to look into before you're getting your core product made. And the same thing with your box design. You know, when you're creating a box design, you have to think, well, are these the colors that are going to be most suited for me and my brand? You know, am I the yellow? Am I the orange? Am I the black? Am I a shiny black? Am I a matte black? Do I want to have white print? Do I want to have, you know, gold print? Do I want to... Because you don't want to be changing it up too often. You probably will. So you might not want to wait to be perfect, because if you wait to make things perfect, you will never make anything. Don't be paralyzed by your fear. And know that even if the first time that you do it, there'll always be ways to improve it. Even if you thought it was perfect, it's not going to be perfect. You might make bags and they're great, and when you get them, they become too hard, or they're not right, or your boxes were perfect, but when you get them, it doesn't close exactly the right way, or it's not strong enough, it's not hard enough, the color isn't exactly there, oh, it's bleeding, oh my gosh, it's gonna get wet, what's gonna happen to the color, the dye line cuts and rips, boxes go on the wrong sides. None of it is the end of the world. It's all could possibly happen, and that's okay. And that's okay. We have, like, the show must go on. If you can get the smaller runs, it's a great way to test things out. You're better off paying a little bit more money and get the shorter run. You know, ask the person that you're dealing with when you're with the manufacturer, what do you recommend? What issues have you had with this component? What issues have you had with this design? Ask them. They might have, you know, ideally the person that you're working with, because you're a customer and you're a buyer when you're developing your products, speak with your manufacturer, because it's in their best interest to help you get the best product. And also ask them, are there any other big companies using this mold or this design right now? So, you know, stop me from doing the same thing when I'm going to be following and chasing them.
That's an excellent point. Asking them to say, you know, to stop. It's like, I want to differentiate on shelf, and so often when we look at, you know, shelf differentiation, we look at let's go out and do a shelf set. Let's, have our design agency, our design firm go do the research, competitive research, come back with the photography and look at it, and then we decide, what is, what is going to be different on shelf. But we don't look at that collaborative process with our packaging suppliers. We might know something might be coming down the line even.
Exactly. Imagine you just now go and launch your big high-end luxury product line, and all of a sudden, a month before you finally launching yours, they just launched the exact same base component in a mass line. It's too late and you've done it. Now, wouldn't it have been helpful if your supplier, your manufacturer said, you know what, I would suggest against it because someone else who is very different from you, or very similar to you even is going to be doing this. We've got to ask them, because I want to build a relationship with you. The same way we want to build a relationship as we're finally going out to the retail or whatever levels we get to with our buyers. We are buyers as well, and we need to establish that relationship. Everything in life is about building relationships.
It's how early in the process are you bringing in outside partners to collaborate on the design, the package design?
Well, when we're finding something interesting, something innovative, we kind of talk it out, and we will first make it based on our own gut, like our small team, and only then, when we have it, will we then, because sometimes you have to go with your own course, and there's too many different ideas at the very beginning. It could be challenging. Let me do what I have in my heart, in my head, maybe with a handful of people, some one or two people, whatever, and from there, then I'll bring them. After I have something tangible, I prefer to then take it to the next level.
So you're inviting collaboration, but maybe not from the very, very starting point.
Yes, because if you have collaboration from the very starting point, it could sometimes and most often go nowhere because it becomes overwhelming and confusing. So sometimes it's better to just, again, like even when you have an idea, just do something, produce something. From giving you something, now I can take it. But if it's just ideas, it's really hard to execute it. Let me execute something. Doesn't have to be perfect. But if I can execute something, we have at least a point of reference to build on.
When you look across the whole of your career, everything that you've done, what one project, what thing are you the most proud of professionally?
I'm really proud of building the Eve Pearl beauty brands. I'm really proud of getting the name kind of out there and doing good. I'm really proud to make a difference, because when I work on lots of celebrities, and it's amazing and fantastic, and really I've been everywhere from the White House to the Royal House, to the red carpet, to the Olympics. But when I do that young woman that has bad skin, that's had a hard time with finding anything or feeling good about herself, and when I put makeup on her and she feels great, that's the most proud that I feel.